26-year-old Emily sits at her kitchen table in Columbus, Ohio. She has done everything she was told to do. She graduated from college. She works full-time. She pays her bills on time. Every month, she watches money leave her paycheck with mechanical precision. Rent, student loans, health insurance, groceries, transportation, utilities. Whatever remains disappears into an emergency fund that never seems to grow large enough. Then she opens a real estate app. The average starter home in her city now costs more than 6 times her annual income. The monthly mortgage payment is nearly double her rent. She closes the app without saying a word. Thousands of miles away, a 28-year-old software engineer earning 6 figures delays having children. In Los Angeles, a nurse works overtime, but still shares an apartment with roommates. In New York, a teacher contributes to retirement while carrying debt. These stories appear unrelated. Different cities, different careers, different incomes, but they are all symptoms of the same financial architecture. An architecture that quietly transformed the path to wealth over the last 40 years. For most history, building wealth followed a surprisingly predictable formula. Earn a paycheck, buy a home, save consistently, invest for retirement, repeat for 30 or 40 years. Today, that formula no longer produces the same results. Did young adults suddenly become irresponsible? Are they spending too much on vacations and coffee? Or is something much larger happening beneath the surface? This isn't simply a story about expensive houses or inflation. It's the story of how wages, housing, education, and policy slowly drift apart. To answer that, we have to go back to a very different America. The America where the middle class became the envy of the world. Imagine the United States after the Second World War. Factories run day and night. Entire suburbs appear overnight. Highways stretch across the country. During the 1950s and 60s, productivity, the amount of value each worker produces, rises almost in lockstep with wages. Think of the economy as 2 people pulling the same rope. One represents businesses, the other represents workers. When the economy grows, ordinary households grow with it. This creates what economists often call the Great Compression. Income inequality narrows. Home ownership expands rapidly. College costs remain manageable. A single middle-income salary often supports an entire family. But from a purely economic perspective, the machinery of wealth creation worked differently. Wealth accumulated through wages first, assets second. Many people confuse income with wealth. They're related, but they're not the same thing. Income is water flowing through a pipe. Wealth is the reservoir collecting the water. A person earning $200,000 can have little wealth if every dollar flows back out. That reservoir grows through 3 mechanisms: saving, owning appreciating assets, and allowing time to compound those assets. For decades, those leaks remained relatively small. Housing consumed a smaller percentage of income. Public universities charged tuition families could pay. Today's young adults face exactly that problem. Not because they're unwilling to save, because fewer seeds remain after essential expenses. Beginning in the 1970s, productivity continues climbing. American workers become more efficient. Computers enter workplaces, but something unexpected happens. Wages stop keeping pace. Imagine those 2 people pulling the rope again. One suddenly accelerates while the other slows. The rope stretches. Eventually, they're no longer moving together. It's like measuring the average depth of a river. The average might suggest it's safe to cross, but the deepest section reaches 20 feet. Now imagine 2 identical graduates. One begins in 1975, the other in 2025. Both earn respectable salaries. Both work equally hard. That single observation changes the way we should think about almost every financial headline. When the stock market reaches a new record, who benefits first? Primarily the households that already own large investment portfolios. When home prices surge another 10%, who celebrates? Existing homeowners? Who struggles? The families trying to buy their first home. The same economic event creates winners and losers simultaneously. One part of America looks extraordinarily prosperous. Retirement accounts grow, home equity reaches record highs, investment portfolios compound. Another part of America feels like it is running on a treadmill that keeps accelerating. Neither perspective is completely wrong. To understand why, we need to examine the single asset that has historically built more wealth for ordinary Americans: the family home. For much of the 20th century, buying a house was less about making an investment and more about creating stability. Families wanted a place to live. Banks issued mortgages based on income and relatively conservative lending standards. A home certainly appreciated, but appreciation wasn't the primary expectation. As wages rose, monthly mortgage payments became easier to manage. Every payment increased equity. This mechanism helped millions enter the middle class. Now imagine drawing a diagram. At the top, write housing. From that, draw 4 arrows: shelter, investment, credit, and wealth. One object performs 4 completely different jobs. That works remarkably well until prices begin rising much faster than incomes. Housing is no longer just a place to live. It becomes a scarce financial asset. Scarcity changes behavior. Investors enter the market. Imagine a stadium with 10,000 seats. Suddenly 20,000 people want tickets. Unless someone builds a larger stadium, ticket prices soar. America experiences something similar. Population grows, yet new construction fails to keep pace. We have accumulated a substantial housing shortage over many years. That shortage emerges from zoning restrictions, labor shortages, rising material costs, and local political opposition. Together, they restrict supply. For first-time buyers, the challenge compounds. Higher prices require larger down payments, which take longer to save. The finish line keeps moving away. But housing is only one piece of a much larger puzzle, because another major pillar of wealth creation quietly changed as well. Education. Historically, higher education was manageable without decades of repayment. It resembled buying a machine for a factory. Spend today, produce more tomorrow. Tuition rose far faster than inflation. Administrative expansion and reduced state funding transformed education into a massive financial commitment. Student loans filled the gap. Debt becomes dangerous when expected future income fails to comfortably exceed repayment obligations. For many, student loans delay behaviors that create wealth, buying homes, starting businesses, and building emergency savings. Small delays become lifetime differences. Compounding rewards time more than intensity. Imagine planting 2 oak trees. The one planted at 25 has 10 additional years to expand its roots. But what happens when economic conditions postpone the ability to begin? This defines the Millennial and Gen Z financial experience. And just as households attempt to recover lost ground, another expense begins climbing: healthcare. Demand remains inelastic because the alternative is often unacceptable. Now, add childcare. In many areas, it rivals college tuition. Parents face a painful calculation: sacrifice income or career progression. This is the hidden architecture of financial pressure: housing, education, healthcare, childcare. Together, they create a system where milestones become more expensive. The leaks in the reservoir keep multiplying. No matter how responsibly someone manages money, filling it becomes difficult when the holes get larger. Then comes a catalyst: a financial crisis. It doesn't create the underlying problems, it exposes them, reshaping the wealth landscape for a new generation. Understanding this architecture is the first step toward navigating it. Thank you for watching this deep dive into modern economic trends.